Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Calvin Tobin Show. I am your host, Calvin Tobin. Today we have a lot to talk about, so let's get right into it. Alright, the other night we had the Toronto Maple Leafs take on the Detroit Red Wings in one of the greatest hockey games we've seen in such a long time. This game was so great that if you had to watch this game live, because if you didn't, you will not understand how great this game was, even from an analyst perspective and a highlight view. That's how crazy this game was. Now, let me put this game into perspective. First off, there was a total of 17 goals in this game, which also made it the highest scoring game in the 21st century. Think about that. We're 22 years into the 21st century, and this ends up being the highest scoring game of the century. So freaking crazy. But other than that, Toronto ends up coming out with the victory, winning 10-7. And now that sounds like one of the highest scoring games you could possibly watch. It is. It's actually the 5th highest scoring game in NHL history. And with all that scoring, 6 players ended up getting 3 or more points. There was a 3, 4, 5, and 6 point game in this game. It was nuts left and right. You couldn't keep track of who had what. And the guy that had the 6-point game was Mitch Marner, as he notched 4 goals and 2 assists on the night. And with Marner's game, he ends up becoming the first player since Mike Zibanejad to get a 6-point game. And this is the first time since Mike Zibanejad did it twice last year, and both of them were against the Flyers. The guy that had the 5-point game was rookie Michael Bunting, and he's leading all rookies in goals scored. He ends up getting 1 goal and 4 assists. This game was truly a special one to watch, because forechecks were at an all-time high, especially in that third. And defenses managed to keep it clean almost the entire game, but Toronto ended up committing 3 penalties, which were 2 tripping and a boarding. But other than that, this game was really clean. Yes, there was chirping in and out of the game, but that's part of the game. Now, as Toronto torched Detroit's game plan like no other, through those first 2 periods, Detroit's game looked like it was over pretty quick, because it was 7-2 after those first 2 periods. But as soon as that 3rd period hit, Detroit had enough, complete enough of Toronto shenanigans, and they ended up going off for 4 goals in the first 5 minutes of that game. And they ended up making the game 7-6, but unfortunately were never able to tie it, and Toronto ends up securing the victory 10-7 to get their 34th win on the season, and now they have the 3rd most wins in the NHL this season. Now, for Detroit, they may not look like the brightest team in the league right now, but they will be soon, and I can see it. You want to know why I can see that? And it's because of Lucas Raymond. He notched 3 points in this game, and 2 of them being in that third, which was a huge part of that 5-goal period by Detroit. And there was a total of 8 combined goals if you combine Toronto's 3. This 3rd period was absolutely bonkers. It might be the greatest period this year, and probably maybe in the last few years. That's how crazy this period was. And obviously the score ended up being 10-7, like I said. But with Lucas Raymond, he is a superstar in the making. Like, this kid is special. He has 42 points on the season through 52 games played. Like, Lucas Raymond is a superstar in the making, and he's only just getting started. And other reasons is that Lucas Raymond is also the third player on the Red Wings to get 40 plus points in the season, like I said, as he now has 42. Now, here is the main reason that Detroit can become a bright team within the next few years. Their top 3 point getters that they have this year are all young. Raymond is a rookie, Bertuzzi is in his 6th season, and Larkin is in his 7th season. Detroit has guys that can score. What they really need to fix is their defense. Once they can get maybe traded in the offseason or throughout any season to like completely add up and stack this team, because Detroit has scorers now that can get them to victories and keep them winning. With that defense, if they can get those players that they need, where they can have lockdowns and can knock off teams off their feet consistently, Detroit can be looked at again as one of the top tier teams in the league. Now, as for Toronto, when it comes to the playoffs, they do not convince me at all that they are a good team, because they don't have a strong team in the playoffs. And here's why. They haven't got out of the first round since 2004, and in 2004 they got as far as the 2nd round, and a couple years before that, in 2002, that's when the last time they made the Stanley Cup final. It's been a long time since Toronto has been a complete scary team to go up against. They can even have great seasons, like a 50 plus win season, but you can have a crazy season and still not win the chip. Until Toronto can get past the first and possibly the 2nd round, I'll think otherwise about and look at Toronto a different way. Until then, they got to prove it to themselves and go to that extra level. Now, speaking of extra level, the Philadelphia 76ers just went way the hell up on so many levels once James Harden started. And James Harden and Joel Embiid actually looks like Kobe and Shaq 2.0. But in a way, if James Harden and Joel Embiid can win rings together, because Kobe and Shaq did win 3, and James Harden and Joel Embiid have that potential, and what possibly can make them better is Joel Embiid and James Harden are both passers. They can distribute the ball like crazy. They know how to make the right plays. Not where like young Kobe was a ball hog, yet they did win chips together, but being able to pass the ball more, and with a lot more talent that they have this year, Joel Embiid and James Harden are bound to be potentially looked at and be one of the scariest duos of all time. Because within the past, the first 2 games that James Harden has played, he has scored over 60 plus points. And same thing when Joel Embiid. Like, this duo is about to turn Philadelphia into champions that Philadelphia fans have been wishing ever since they had Allen Iverson. And it looks like the process may have his answer to Philadelphia's problem on not winning chips, and it could be James Harden. And with these first 2 games, it's only getting started, and right now the Philadelphia 76ers have 35 wins and are in the top 5 in the East. Like, once they get this going, Philadelphia can get on a winning streak and just keep it winning. But there are tough teams to go through in the East, because now Cleveland is actually a dominant team. You got Brooklyn. Eventually, hopefully, Kyrie Irving and KD can get some games together and look dominant, because right now we all know Kyrie Irving can't play home games due to this vaccine issue, even though that New York just lifted the mandate on the vaccine. But other than that, watch out, basketball world, because James Harden and Joel Embiid are coming. Now, speaking of dangerous, it turns out that March Madness is having some little bit of a dangerous effect on the regular season right now, and we're about to enter March right now, and we all know what March Madness has done for college basketball, having the craziest games ever, every year, year in and year out, and always having a Cinderella story. Like Oral Roberts making it to the Sweet 16 last year. Like Loyola Chicago, who is a 16th seed, made it all the way to the Elite 8. What's going to happen this year? Who's going to be the Cinderella? Now, speaking of all that, March Madness has taken an early toll at the end of February, because this weekend, 7 of the top 10 teams all lost. Gonzaga, Arizona, Auburn, Purdue, Kansas, Kentucky, and Texas Tech. Now, the first 6 teams are 1 through 6, but the 17th I mentioned is number 9, and they all lost, and it's the most teams in college basketball history to lose in one day. It's not even March yet, and that's tomorrow, and we're already getting March Madness crazy. All this is going to be exciting, because throughout all sports this year, it has been one of the most special years of all time. From baseball to basketball to hockey to NFL and college football, this season has been truly special, because sports were officially back, and stadiums were almost never not sold out. And I've been to multiple sport games. I've been to football games. I've been to basketball games. And I've even been to hockey games, and all of them are decked out. And every seat is filled, and you can hear. And if you were at any sport game this year in 2021 and partial 2022, you could really see that how much fans truly missed and love sports, because every stadium that I have gone to, it erupted like no other. It was like Beastquake from Seattle all over the place. That's how special this season was. And I can't believe that everyone gets to witness, and some people may not realize it, because it's hard to come by this kind of season, but it's good when you realize it right away, because then you understand the specialty of this sport. Now, unfortunately, for the 2022 MLB season, it is going to be shortened, because the MLB and MLBPA have been in talks for weeks now, and even months on end, and they could not come to a complete decision on what they agree on, because as a lot of people know, like back then, 15, 20, 25, 30, even 40 years ago, this game was a lot more fun than it used to be what it is right now, and the players are far more talented. And to really put it into perspective of how much more talented players have gotten, we got an advanced version of what Babe Ruth was all the way back in the 1920s and 30s, where he was a pitcher, outfielder, and hitter. We got Shohei Ohtani. If there's one guy that can bring the ultimate funness and viewers back to baseball, it's this dude, because he's putting up elite pitcher numbers and elite hitter numbers, and even sometimes when he goes in the outfield, he makes crazy plays. Like Shohei Ohtani is a good and unbelievable player, and he will bring back the funness in this game. But as I said, it's very unfortunate that the MLBPA and MLB Association could not come to agreements on what they need to agree on because of this lockout. They did come to a couple agreements, which was draft lottery pick and a universal designated hitter. And there is a lot more, just a lot more to figure out. And there's going to be games canceled. I'm just hoping it's not opening day, because spring training games have already been canceled for a couple days now. And I'm hoping opening day does not get canceled, because there has been a couple strikes and a couple lockouts, and there's been 7 or 8 total since the 90s started. Like, this is crazy. Like, we need to learn to have fun with this game. Let players release their ultimate ability, because sometimes, like, it looks like that these associations are holding, or the MLB association, like the leaders are holding these players' talent back, and I feel like we could see so much more out of these players, because like baseball has lost more and more viewers over time. If we can get back into how fun it is to truly watch this game and understand on how this game works and why it is so fun, this game could take off, and Shohei Ohtani is the start of a new generation of what could be 10 times more fun of baseball. Alright, that's the end of the Calvin Tobin Show. Please subscribe to my channel at Calvin Tobin Show so you don't miss out on any sports media. And please follow me on Instagram at Calvin Tobin Show as well, so you don't miss out on any sports news whatsoever. And